What is going on? It is Nate the Game Guy coming back with another video at hand, and today I want to talk to you guys and share with you guys PS4 games that are great to play on the PS5 today. Now with this list, I'm not going to be focusing on games which perform the best, look the best, but instead I'm only going to be focusing on the fun factor with these games right here, and I will be having a variety of games of whether you are somebody that is into first-person shooters or more into obscure titles that you would find with JRPGs. All these games I have played and do own right here in my own game collection, so I do have first-hand experience with these games right here. I'm also not going to include remasters in this video right here, and if the game happens to be on PS5 as well, I am not going to put it into this video. These are just PS4 games that are great to play on the PS5 that were originally released for the PS4 and don't have a release on the PS5. So without further ado, let's dive right into this video subject and take a look at some awesome PS4 games that you can play on the PS5 right after the intro. So I'm going to give you a 2-for-1 right here at the start of this video and talk about Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 1. Both of these games are very fun to play to this day, and they still have strong communities worth being a part of. These games are all about team strategy, going in for the objective and working with your team to take on the enemy. These games are incredibly fun, and personally I have to say you are getting quite a deal with these games with how cheap they are today. Now me personally, I do prefer Bad Company 2 over these games, but I will say for games that are worth playing on the PlayStation 5 from the PS4 library of games, you certainly cannot go wrong with these two right here. Great campaigns, great overall premise. You simply just cannot go wrong with these games. Now the next title that I want to talk about is Infamous Second Son. While I do personally prefer the original Infamous and Infamous 2 way over Second Son, I will not ignore the fact that this is still a pretty fun game to play if you're looking through the PS4 library of games to play on your PS5. Of course, just like the previous Infamous titles, you are gaining new abilities and you are able to decide whether you want to use your abilities for good or evil. And this game is pretty solid with how you are able to explore your environment, take down your different enemies, and go for different collectibles. This game was a pretty fun game to 100%, and what's nice is that this game has a solid single player story with it. So if you are looking for a good single player game that comes with a fun experience to play, this is a nice choice to pick out. Now the first JRPG that I want to talk about right here in this video is Mega Dimension Neptunia V2. This whole game, along with the series, is all themed around 4 goddesses that control their own nations, which are themed off of Sega, Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox, and they are a part of a world called Game Industry. As you can tell, the Neptunia games are all themed around the real world video game industry, and there are multiple jokes and parodies and different references that are a part of the game industry in the Neptunia series. This game also, in my opinion, has the best story out of the entire Neptunia series, and this game has a pretty interesting single player experience. While I will say it isn't the best JRPG that you can play, but if you are somebody that wants an interesting story and you really enjoy gaming references and the whole gaming culture as a whole, this is a title I would strongly recommend that you guys check out if you just haven't played this game already. Now the first horror title that I want to talk about in this video is Zombie. Zombie is a re-release of Zombie U off of the Wii U and was re-released onto the PS4 and the Xbox One back in 2015, and this is a really fun horror game of how you are exploring the streets of London trying to survive during a zombie apocalypse. This game just offers a really fun single player experience. If you haven't played this game, please go check it out. I really consider this one to be a very underrated title as well. And even though me personally, I do think the Wii U version of this game offers a better experience, I won't ignore the fact that this is still a fun game to play. And of course, if you are looking for some underrated games from the 8th generation, not just with PS4, but Xbox One as well, I recommend that you guys do check out this video right here that you guys can check out. A few of the games that are mentioned in this video are in that video as well. I will say, if you're looking for an underrated horror title that is pretty fun, you just can't go wrong with Zombie. Now, a puzzle game that comes from a pretty underrated puzzle series that I want to talk about is Puyo Puyo Tetris. This game is essentially Puyo Puyo with Tetris, and you get to choose either between the two which one you want to play, or a mix of both, along with a crazy mixture in between. And yes, there is Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 on the PS5, but with Puyo Puyo Tetris the original, it also comes with a story that I do think is clever, it's pretty funny, and it is kind of enjoyable as well. Plus, if you are going to jump into Puyo Puyo Tetris 2, it does follow up after the story of the original. And I will say, if you are looking for an interesting puzzle game that you can check out, this is easily one that I can recommend off of the top. A little bit about Puyo Puyo is you have these blobs called Puyo. You try to stack them together, and when you kind of create these chain reactions, they send junk to the opponent, and you want your opponent to get more junk, so that way you can beat your opponent, for those that have never played a Puyo Puyo game before. But if you are looking for a fun puzzle game, you just can't go wrong with Puyo Puyo Tetris. Now, this is a game that I consider to be one of the best games that ever came out from the 8th generation of gaming, and that is Red Dead Redemption 2. This game is like Grand Theft Auto, but in the Wild Wild West. This game is incredibly fun with its single player campaign. The story was just incredible, and what I really like about this game is that even if you are someone who's not really into the Wild West theme, this game still offers a solid experience with the exploration, the different collectibles, and just the overall experience that this game has to offer. Now I'm going to do another 2-for-1 with two amazing JRPGs, and these two games are Atelier Ryza and Atelier Ryza 2. What I really like about these games is that you go through the world and you collect different ingredients, either from different enemies that you fight or things that you find your environment from, whether it's chopping down a tree or collecting something within the flowers in a nearby area. And what you want to do is make sure that you get the best quality ingredients, so that way you can make the best quality items, whether you are using them for healing items or bombs or weapons and armor. This game just offers a really fun experience. And also, what's nice about the Atelier Ryza games is that they have a pretty interesting story as well. Now, with the original Atelier Ryza, it starts off where it's just you as the main protagonist, which is Ryza, and she wants to explore off of her island. And it starts off simple at first, but when the story gets going, you are going to be in for a pretty interesting experience. But I will say these are two really fun JRPGs if you feel like checking them out sometime. Now, a shooter that I want to talk about is Titanfall 2. Now, sadly, the community is essentially non-existent if you try to play online, but the game still offers a fun campaign. If you are somebody that really enjoyed like the campaigns of the original Modern Warfare trilogy, I think you're going to have a blast with this one, considering this game was worked on Vince Zampella and some ex-Infinity Ward employees. And with this game, you are essentially calling in these giant mechs called Titans, and you get to go in and you fight your different enemies and different Titans. I feel like this game deserved way more attention back when it first came out. And what's also cool about this game as well is that you can find this game for cheap either online or at your local game store. If you are looking for a game that does offer a fun campaign that is a solid first-person shooter, I do recommend that you do pick up Titanfall 2, because not only is it underrated, but it's also a very cheap game to pick up as well. Now, bouncing back to the horror genre of things, I want to talk about Outlast. And sadly, I haven't played Outlast 2, so I can't really speak on that. But when it comes to the original Outlast, this was a really fun horror game. Essentially, you are in a abandoned psych ward and you don't have any weapons. All you have is your camera and your light, and you are just trying to survive. You will see a lot of interesting, different people and different things going on in your environment, and the game can get creepy at times. There are a lot of jump scares in there as well. I think this is a game that you should consider. It's a great horror title. I certainly enjoyed it. I've had a few playthroughs with it and I enjoyed it each and every single time. I think it is just a great game that is absolutely worth checking out. Now, another first-person shooter that I want to talk about is Doom from 2016. This is an incredibly great first-person shooter where it did a great job in its modernization and also sticking to the roots of what made Doom great. I really liked of how you were able to upgrade yourself and take on different enemies. It really placed an emphasis on the violence that is in this game. It is very action-packed. Now, unfortunately, if you do try to play online, you're not really going to be finding any people. But back when there were people, this game had a fun online multiplayer. But the reason why I'm still going to recommend this game right here in this video is because of its awesome story and campaign that comes along with it. Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out my video. Please be sure to check out these videos here, and here. After all, I post a lot of content when it comes to game collecting tips, and other video game related subjects. So be sure to keep an eye out every Monday and Friday where I upload consistently, and I'll be seeing you guys next time.